Okay, let's get to our health topic today because it's a good one. I'm talking about kids. Since I was all up in my feels about my own kids, I wanted to talk about 7 tips for raising healthy kids. Okay, nutrition first, of course, because that's what I think. I'm all about nutrition. It's so important. When we're eating, when we are feeding our bodies, it is information. We are giving we're giving our body information when we eat food. And then it takes the information and processes it and expresses in the form of health or sometimes in the form of dis-ease. So very important to start with nutrition. So build meals around real food, not convenience. And I can already hear the excuses. Well, we're rushing from game to game to game to game. Listen, it may be time, okay? And I'm not trying to guilt anybody here, but I'm just trying to bring awareness. Priorities, right? Do you want a kid that's sick all the time with sniffles and problems? Or do you want a healthy kid? We have to prioritize this stuff, I didn't have my kids in a ton of sports. Both each had one sport. Nowadays, people are sport after sport after sport, and it's in the car all the time, and it's here, it's there, it's blah. And what are you doing that for? Like, ask yourself, what is the wanted outcome of that? Because you don't have to have your child scheduled to the teeth in order to feel like a successful parent. Actually, prioritizing health is being a successful parent, right? So building meals around real food. So quality of meat, right? We were talking about that last week about the McDonald's hamburger that had 1,300 strands of different DNA in it, meaning it was made up of 1,300 different animals. I just don't like that. Where's those animals coming from? What have they eaten? We don't even know. Okay. So think about, quality of meat, fresh whole foods, eggs, dairy, meat. And we've got to start young with these kids, right? Because they only know what they know. And my kids used to eat cauliflower right off their trays, and people used to freak out because they would see chunks of cauliflower, eat them. Yeah, because they're babies. They don't know any different. They're not feeling deprived. They're happy. Blueberries, cauliflower, things of that nature were on their trays, olives, feta cheese, all this weird stuff, right? That people would say, oh my gosh, that's so weird that your baby eats that. Yeah, because they don't know anything else and they're having a grand old time, right? So it's conditioning around health, and it's very valuable, very valuable. Now I have 20-year-olds that they don't eat crap. They don't eat crap because they don't feel good when they eat it. So there's a direct correlation. They understand that healthy food equals feeling good. So start as young as you possibly can. So build meals around real food. Number 2, prioritize minerals even before mega doses of vitamins, because kids burn through minerals fast due to growth, due to play, due to, just being exposed to the environment, especially magnesium, zinc, iron, iodine. Magnesium, of course, provides calming and muscle support and also helps with sleep. Zinc for immune health, growth, and appetite. Iron, food first with iron. Food first, right? So one of my little tricks, what I do is I actually blend up calf liver. Okay, put it in your Vitamix or your food processor with a little bit of water, get it into like a little sludge. I know it doesn't sound appetizing. And then you put it in ice cube trays and you freeze it. And then every time you make taco meat or hamburger or whatever, you just pop a couple of those out and you mix them in. They never know. They have no idea. So it's a great way to add that into is liver. And also egg yolks are a great source of iron as well. Don't fear healthy fats with your kids, right? Kids need them. So butter, ghee, tallow, full fat dairy, olive oil, avocado oil, omega-3s. And, I'm not big on restricting carbohydrates, whole food carbohydrates with kids. They need it. So your home fries, do your home fries in your oven with tallow, or, use olive oil with lots of spices and whatnot. Okay. This is wonderful. Avocado oil is a great thing to cook in as well. And you can even, make fresh chips with them, with your potatoes, thin them, with a mandolin, really, really thin. And then you drop them in either beef tallow is wonderful, or you can use avocado oil. It's a great snack for young kids, right? Because they can go through those carbohydrates like crazy. It's just, I'm not a big believer in restrictive diets for kids at all. But junk food, I am. Restrict the junk food for sure. But whole foods, pretty much anything goes as long as it's clean. So obviously use supplements to fill gaps, right? So vitamin D, omegas are huge, and omegas kids really don't like to take. So I have one in my buy one, get one free book right now. They're gummy and they taste great. So good way to get kids into the habit of taking supplementation is gummies are fantastic for that, right? Easy things that taste good, right? Magnesium glycinate. So I have, I love magnesium for kids in a hot drink. So I have one that has, I think it's like 4 or 5 different magnesiums in it, including glycinate, and it's a hot beverage. So at night you can put that in a little tea. I don't know. My kids used to love to make tea in the evenings, herbal tea, and they have the little tiny teapots. Make it fun, right? Healthy living needs to be fun. So we had these little individual teapots. We'd put a little magnesium in there, good for sleep, and a little herbal tea, maybe some hibiscus tea or some cinnamon tea. And it's a little ritual that they build early in life, and it takes them through their life, and they still do it at night. Okay, what else? You got to protect the gut as well. So a healthy gut supports immunity, mood, and nutrient absorption. So for fermented foods like yogurt, if you can get them to eat yogurt, watch the sugar intake in that though, right? Buy your Greek yogurt and flavor it yourself with local honey, right? Put a few walnuts in there, or some dark cherries are wonderful too. Kids love fruit, right? Dark cherries, blueberries, load it up, make it look the thing about kids too is if you make the food look fun and appetizing, they're all over it. And then if you include them in it when you're preparing, or you give them a job to do with meals as well, they're all about it. They're all about it. So it's easy. It's really quite easy to get kids involved in nutrition because they want to be next to you. They want to be helpful. So let them, let them. Also, you want to make sure you regulate blood sugar with protein. So you always, pushing the protein on the kids. So you can make your own chicken fingers. I do that. I've done that for years. You can bread them in things like flaxseed to up the omega count in the food. Always cooking in either tallow or avocado oil or whatnot. Always want to pair, right? You want to pair your fat with a protein, pair things that are complementary as well. So of course, endless fruits and vegetables with children. Oh yeah, endless. Never ever deprivation when it comes to kids. Never deprivation. That is not the way. It is the quality of food that you have available to your kids. They never overeat because when they're eating whole foods, their brains are being calibrated, right? Kids nowadays, they're not dealing with the diet culture that you and I were with a lot of the fat-free. It's different pressures, it's not the same, but we were dealing with fat-free and deprivation and calorie restriction and Weight Watchers and stuff. That's not really a thing anymore. Right? So let's take this opportunity to train their brains to respond properly to ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone, and leptin, which is the satiety hormone, and feed them real fat, whole fat dairy, right? They won't overeat if they know they don't have to live in deprivation. What triggered overeating for a lot of us in diet culture was deprivation. And so we never want to do that for kids. Man, I've got some horror stories about that, just with like kids' friends, my kids' friends through the years or whatever, with parents like locking up food and stuff, like weird. Do not do that. That's crazy, right? If you can, you want to provide that there's always a choice. There's always a choice here if you're hungry. So you've got to model health. That's the very best thing you can do, is model health. It's more powerful than any rule you could ever try to implement, because kids copy what they see. If you have been constantly worried about your weight, if you have constantly talked about calories, my mom did, God bless her. I'm not, she was on a diet like as early as I can remember. And so my sister and I both were focused on weight, always. And that's just the culture we grew up in. She was a result of the diet culture too. I'm not blaming anybody here, but I'm so glad I broke that cycle with my daughter. She's not like that at all. I never talked about my weight in a negative way in front of her. I never did that with her. I was like, hey, this is what we got. We're strong, and we should embrace this and let's build this up. But never from a negative standpoint, right? It's just very damaging. And listen, if you've done that, it's reverse course, have a discussion about it. Listen, this is what I learned. I learned that I was talking a lot of negative stuff about my own weight and about, diet culture. This is how, explain it. And have an open discussion about it and how you're working towards being better. Somebody I knew once told me that the first thing they recognized about people when they met them was their weight. And I thought, oh, really? I notice people's eyes. But that's a direct result of the culture that we have lived in. And so we have an opportunity to reprogram that, right? Change that. And we do it by modeling this behavior and being as open as we possibly can about how we feel about our bodies, especially if we have daughters, but even boys now as well. So take minerals over any hype, fats over fear, food fears first, supplements wisely with goals. Get yourself some minerals and some omega gummies for those kids at naturallyinspiredstore.com. Buy one, get one. See you tomorrow, everybody. Thanks for joining me. This has been Naturally Inspired Radio.